Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. This is part 2. If you missed part 1, find it in our YouTube channel, Lab Coat Agents. But we have our special guest again, Brett Baker, and my co-host on this, Randy Carroll from Chime. He'll chime in here and there when he has something great to say.
Stole my line, dude. That's
our joke every time.
You know what? It doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. It just
you know what
happens.
The problem with that is? Every time I'm in a meeting now and somebody says, I want to chime in, I'm like, damn it.
It sticks with you. And you know the worst part about it is even in like internal meetings when we're having a sales team meeting, Mike, VP will like, let me chime in real quick. And we all just look at him like, really, Mike? Really?
It's a problem. It's a real problem. All right, well, let's get started here. We're going to be talking about nurturing your leads. The last time we went into it pretty deep. And so I want to continue that conversation to really help out everybody listening in, because Brett, you've done it at such a high level where you actually took your company and then sold it. That's how high level it was. And you sold it for a few million. So, I mean, it's great to sit in and listen and learn from what you've got to say. Now, for those of the people that missed part 1 of this, can you just do a quick 1 to 2 minute intro as to who you are for those people that don't know you?
I mean, basically, long story is I came from the aviation world. I wanted nothing to do with real estate. My family did real estate for a really, really long time. And I was an air traffic controller with the FAA for like 10 years. I got super bored with that. So I started a real estate company. One thing led to another. We ended up growing very, very quickly. We ended up making real trends a couple of times. We grew to a point where we could finally essentially retire, which is what I did. And after 4 years in the business, I retired. So now I get to help people like you guys and be on webinars like this and chat about long-term follow-up and nurture and doing the fun stuff that I did at a high level.
I love that. That's a really good intro, man.
Thank you. I've been working on that.
We won't even get into the fact that you've been awake for a few hours more.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. So with Chime, because this is a sponsored webinar with Chime. So let's get into the Chime aspect of this. I've been using Chime for about a year, so not too long. Brett, you've been using it longer. How have you incorporated this CRM into the genuine nurture plans that you've created over the last few years?
Sure. Since I'm no longer active in the real estate, my other half is active in real estate. And so essentially what we've done is we've taken Chime and we've used the AI that Chime has, and we've used that to help nurture my other half's leads, get them to the point where she's not having to worry about speed to lead, because the automation is taking most of that. They're taking care of most of that for her. Okay. And then the best part is it's putting people that are hot in front of her. So when the people are ready to go, when the lead is ready to go, Chime is essentially getting in front of her and like waving their hands like, you need to do something with these leads. And that's been a huge blessing for her, because she's been able to now go out and spend time with people that are actually out ready to do something. I think what most people get caught up in is they're like, man, I need more leads. And then they're sitting there following up with leads all day long. We don't get paid to follow up with leads. We don't get paid to create new leads. We get paid to sell houses. And so if you're spending your time spinning your wheels, working with people that are not going to do anything anytime soon, you've got to have some form of triage in place. And so in order to do that, you need a system that can help you triage those leads. And when I say triage, I don't know if you guys have ever been to the hospital, but I've gone in with like a broken arm before, and they're like, yeah, go take a seat. This guy's having a heart attack. He has a priority. Well, the same thing can be done in leads. It's like, okay, well, the people that are hot and ready to go, they need your attention right then and there. They're essentially having a heart attack in a good way. The person with the broken arm that's not pre-approved, that is sitting on the couch, they're back burner at that point. And you need a system that can identify those for you so you know who to follow up with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so let's get right into that, man. What what systems are in place when it comes to this genuine nurture? Because the first time we talked about this, we went into the automation, right?
Yep.
And we showed plans and so forth.
Sure.
But besides that, what other items are in place to make sure that these people are raising their hand and that the right people are raising, the ones that are having heart attacks in a good way, like you said?
Yeah.
I can't envision that yet, but I like it.
Yeah, it'll come. Give it a couple hours. We're gonna get off this webinar. You're gonna be like, heart attack in a good way.
I think I need about 2 or 3 Red Bulls before I see
I'll bet you do. Hey, when I see a T-shirt that says "heart attack in a good way," I know you'll get it.
There you go.
So, what systems do we have in place? Well, I think the way that I would start this out is, what systems do you need in place? And I really think that most people will look at another person's business. And I know, because I was this guy at one point, I looked at other people's businesses and I was like, I want that. I want that so badly. And the truth was, I was looking at someone who had, 47 teammates, and they had all these systems in place, or so I thought. And really, the more that I dove into it, I started realizing that most of the time those people weren't making any money. And so I took a different approach, and I stopped looking at what other people were doing, and I built out what I thought was something that if I were a lead, if I were a client, what would I want to happen to me? And so when I moved up into Eastern Washington, which is where I started my business, when I moved up there, I called 5 listing signs. One guy called me back 2 days later. And I thought to myself, if I had been in Southern California, and Tristan, if anybody gets this, it's you. You call a listing sign in Southern California, not only does the agent get right back to you, they fly over the top in a helicopter, rappel down, and like, want to see the house? So, the speed to lead was big up there. And I thought, well, shoot, why are people not doing this? So I had to figure out real quick, and I came from a background of aviation where you always have redundant systems. I mean, that is like aviation 101. You need something that's going to have a backup in case one system fails. And I started watching these high-performing agents, and I noticed that they had no scalability in their business. And what I mean by that is they were either trying to follow up all the leads themselves, or they hired an ISA to do it for them. And I thought to myself, well, ISA route, that's a good route to do. I went the ISA route. I quickly realized that as I ramped up the number of leads that I was getting, my ISA was getting buried and stopped being able to follow up as well with the leads that I was getting. So what did I do? Well, naturally, I hired another ISA. And then you get to the point where you look at your ISA team and you're like, holy crap, I've got my own call center. Like this is not scalable. And so I had to turn to automation. Now, at the time, I didn't know about Chime. When I was deep in the thick of it, I was not using Chime initially. And so I was using Zapier to zap out all of these different systems that I had. Dude, Zapier crashed on me one day. Wow. My world like collapsed. It was like when AWS goes down, the Amazon Web Services goes down, or like when Garmin got hacked, like the world stopped for me and I didn't know how to fix it. And so I thought to myself, well, God, there has to be a better way. So what we've built out for ourselves is we have really a 4-pronged approach to what we're doing. Okay. So we have lead generation, right? You got to generate leads in some way, shape, or form. Primarily, we look mostly at what Chime is doing. So for my other half, for example, Chime is running ads on Facebook for her. We use somebody for Google PPC. He's doing that. And then we are using retargeting to get more confidence in front of people. And that's our first tier. Our second tier, we use Facebook Messenger marketing. Big fan of that. People would come to the Facebook page all the time, and you're seeing like no responses going back. So we have automation in the form of a Facebook messaging marketing tool. From there, we have, again, retargeting, again, is a big part of it. We take that and we re-engage the leads that we're getting. I'm going to touch on that here in a minute. But then finally is the follow-up. And the follow-up is really simple. They come into the Chime site. They get applied one of our smart plans that we have in Chime that incorporates video email, that incorporates voicemail drops, that incorporates auto texting, auto emailing, the works. The whole point of that smart plan, of those smart plans, is to take the person from the top of the funnel down to the bottom of the funnel. If they do not work their way down the funnel, our smart plan moves them into another pipeline and continues dripping in front of them. The reason, she doesn't have time to call someone who is 12 months away from doing anything. The people she's focused on are 30 days to 60 days and in, basically. So if you're ready to go up to 60 days, you're going to start getting some information. You're going to start really getting her attention. Does that make sense?
Totally, dude. I love that. Can you repeat those 4 things? I had somebody on the side of it.
Yeah, no sweat. Lead generation, Facebook Messenger marketing, retargeting, and follow-up. Like those are the 4 boxes that you need to check. The reason why we are so big on retargeting, a lot of people will spend money on leads, and I'm cool with that. I don't care where you get your leads from. Everybody has their own opinions on where they get leads from. That's great. The truth of the matter is, of everybody that comes in, you're paying for a visit to your website. When that person visits your website, they have 2 options. They either register or they don't. If they don't register, they go away, and the $1, $4, depending on where you get your leads from, $1,000, that just went down the drain. It's gone. So we use a retargeting program to get in front of that person again and again and again. And what we go for is we're going for what I call the aha moment. And I had this happen to me when I was an active agent, and it was the craziest sensation in the world. You get someone in a showing, and they'd be like, I had to work with you. And you're like, you had to. You have 890 choices here in this area. You had to? And they're like, yeah, man, it was fate. I saw you everywhere. It was a sign that I had to work with you. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, that's called $43 worth of retargeting. Like, thanks for that. I mean, it was great. Yeah, it was a sign, but that was our retargeting that was getting in front of this person over and over and over again. And so to do that, we're using video testimonials. We're using just listed, just sold. We're using all of these great reasons to get in front of somebody again. Brett, and because of our trust goes through the roof. Yeah, go ahead.
With retargeting, are you talking specifically about dynamic ads, the dare ads, or are you doing like ad roll through retargeting outside of social media?
So we have used dare ads. That is something that I will never ever drop dare ads. Chime's dare ads are arguably they're the best in my opinion. It's one man's opinion.
All right.
We do use another form of retargeting as well. And that's a company that I can provide the name for. I don't actually have it off the top of my head. But we do have another company that we use for that. So if you would like the information on that, I will be more than happy to provide that.
Yeah, send it to me later. And what we'll do is everybody who's watching now and who registered, we'll send them a link to that as well, along with the Chime as well.
Perfect. But I mean, really, that has been, when people say, what's the number one thing that you guys are doing that is driving traffic, that is doing conversions, it is very, very important to our cog, if you would, to have retargeting, because what it's doing is it's making that person that we just spent whatever it was, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it was, you're getting them back onto your website for significantly cheaper. And because it is a re-engagement ad, we're talking like, for the people that care about these things, I don't care how much money is spent on retargeting and stuff like that, because I know it works. But the person that's nitpicking this, it's like 6 cents a lead to come back to your site. So it's so cheap. It's almost not funny.
I think the point that you're trying to make for people that are listening in, and me for the purpose of reiterating it, is you're already spending the money to get the leads, right?
Yep.
You're not going to cross the finish line most of the time if you don't spend the extra few cents on retargeting. Right. It's not going to happen.
The way that I look at it is like Amazon, right? Amazon is a huge fan of retargeting. Why? It works. When you go on right now and you type in blue screwdriver onto Amazon, you're going to get retargeting ads for like the next 180 days that are like, you sure you don't want a hammer? What about a Phillips head? How about a slot screwdriver? Do you want to insert item here? They're going to try to get you to come back and do something with that. Well, it's the same principle for real estate. If you have someone, and the thing that I love about Chime's dare ads is it uses the Chime system. So let's say, for example, you were looking for a 4-bedroom house in Malibu, and your search results pop up, 15 results in your price point. Chime is going to take those and put those back in front of you over and over and over again. How about this one over here on this street? How about this one over here on this street? It's going to try to get you to engage with it. And that's the whole purpose of it.
That's so good. It's like when I go to Amazon and I leave something in the cart, and then I was like, hey, you left this in the cart. Are you sure you really don't want to move forward with it? Very similar concept.
Right. And for go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Randy.
I would be so bold as to say that if you're using online lead generation and you're not using retargeting, you might as well not do it. I mean, you're completely missing the point if you're not using retargeting.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. All right, question from the Facebook side of this, because I put it in a few groups here. So the question's for you, Brett. So now that you have this retargeting, you do both the dare ads and the other side of the retargeting. How is it that they become a priority or they raise their hand at that point? What's that process?
So we're using Chime's AI to determine how hot they are based on several different factors. Chime uses a lead score to really help with that. But the idea is the AI within Chime is tracking activities that these people are doing. So are they going on? Are they saving searches? Are they going on? Are they favoriting properties? Are they sharing that property with somebody else? Are they using the mortgage tool? Are they using the loan calculator? What systems are they using that are indicating their temperature? People that are generally further down the funnel are going to make certain actions that people that are at the very top of the funnel are not going to do. People that are very, very serious, that are moving toward the hot side of things, they're going to be making actions that are different than someone who's just browsing. That's AI for you. And Chime has done such a good job with it that it can literally tell you who is hot and who is not. Now, we use pretty heavily Chime's chatbot, the texting service that is done through Chime. That is a big part of it because that will identify right off the bat, and that's speed to lead. So that will start the process for us. Depending on how that person responds to the chatbot will determine where they fall within our smart plans. So let's say, for example, they're all riled up and ready to go, and they want to buy a house now. First of all, it is going to send out like DEFCON 3 alerts to us. Aurora's phone will melt down, like full-blown alarms go off on it. Her computer goes off, emails going everywhere, and it's just like, it sounds like a nuclear sub inside our house. So we know then someone is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's just what it does. That's the system for you. So that's how we're using it.
From Amanda Smith. Great question, Amanda. Are those drip campaigns automatically in Chime, or did you make them yourself?
We made those. And if that's something where someone wants one of those, I will make sure you have contact information for that as well.
Randy, going to you on that, is there any way to share drips on Chime? Like if I create them, then I can share them with somebody else through Chime?
You can do that.
Yeah, so if you create your smart plans within Chime and somebody requests them or you ask to share them with another Chime user, our client services team can effectively copy and paste them, if you will, into another Chime account.
Oh, nice. All right. So then as I'm adding all of the drips that I have, I can share them with everybody as they join. Oh, cool, dude. Then I'll do that. So then the next webinar, when we have a lot of them up, we'll just share them through there. If anybody wants.
That'd be easy.
Makes a lot of sense.
Well, when we were on this last call, you were talking, you were showing me one of your like drip plans that wasn't in Chime yet. And
No.
I'm just sitting there the whole time on that. Like I've replayed that last webinar that we were on about 10 times because I loved what you did.
Thanks,
So,
dude.
I'm impressed.
Thanks, man. Well, I think we're both impressed by what you've done. So props to you on that.
Thank you.
Let's continue on the conversation of priority alerts.
Sure.
And so now we've got the AI engaged, we've got the chatbot engaged. What other points are touched that are automated so that we're not having to do all the nurturing along the way? What are those priority points? Do you know?
Sure. So the way that we have it set out, and I'm just going to walk you through kind of hot, warm, cold, the works. You're going to get everything out of this webinar. So here's the first part. If they come in as hot, she will be following up with those people once a week, be it text, via phone. That at 30 days or less, if you're in the hot category, you now get personalized attention. There isn't a lot of, you get property drips that still go out automatically. That kind of, the basics still happen. But at that point, 30 days or less, it is manual. It is her reaching out once a week to make sure that you have what you need. Because at that point, a hot lead 30 days or less needs personalized attention. Automation is great, but at that point, they have earned the right to be dealing with her every day if they need to. Warm leads, so 31 days to 60 days, she reaches out to them once a week at a minimum, once a week. So the reason, and it's probably going to be more text message at that point. It won't be call every week. It'll be a text like, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Then there's the call portion of that. Once every other week is what she's doing them. Cold, once a month. You're gonna get reached out to about once a month. So 60 to 90 days, you're gonna get a once a month reach out and check in. Anything after that, it's all automated. So we'll use at that point automated drip campaigns for property searches that continuously get updated. So Chime's AI will recognize that there are certain changes in somebody's search, and you can literally go in and with 2 clicks, you can adjust those changes on that person's account. So flags get thrown for her to look at. So it'll be like, hey, you need to adjust Bo Smith's property search. And she can go in and go, oh, he's looking in West Richland instead of Richland, change. And it's really simple. Other than that, once they make it through our drip system, at that point, you either want to work with us or you don't. And we don't drive, at what are we, Randy, have you even seen it? She's getting what, like 60, 70 leads a day? It's stupid how many leads she's getting.
What area are you guys in? 60 and 70 leads a day?
She's Eastern Washington. And because of COVID, everybody wants to move there. I don't know why, but everybody wants to move there. So it's like you have like mass exodus out of California, and they're all going to her website. So it's kind of nice, but at the same time, if without automation, you can't follow up with 60 leads a day. It's not. It's literally not humanly possible.
No.
So,
dude, even if you tried for the first maybe 2-3 days, after that, it's over. It's like it's over.
I did the math on it, and you can do that. You can do that for 76 days before you are so overwhelmed that 12 hours a day does not get you through every contact that you have.
And for those of you who are doubting that he did the math on it, he did the math on it, just so you know.
Yeah. Someone brought it up in another webinar, and they're like, well, how long do you think you would have to? I'm like, I got that. So,
His background is all on mathematics, so go back to part 1 of the webinar.
Right. Watch that one first. Where we ended up, though, is with automation, it's going to show you who you should reach out to, and the Mickey Mouses and the FUs that are not worth your time. They go into the contacted but not ready yet. They go in there and they just get retargeted to over and over and over again until they're ready to actually do something. So we don't delete leads. We never ever delete leads. Even if we get a totally offensive one, that's just going to go into the not ready pile, and they're just going to get hammered with our retargeting for the next 180 days. And the reason we do that is because if they've expressed interest enough to click onto a website, to register on that website, there's at least wheels turning a little bit up there, but they're not, maybe they don't know the steps that need to be done. And so part of that, what we use in our drip campaigns, and something that we've been doing this for a long time, we have educational videos that come through there on, like, let's use the entire process of buying a house. And so we're talking, I mean, what started with 10 videos, it's evolved into about 150 videos. And these videos are they're very basic. They're 2 minutes on, here is education on the home buying process. And it's broken down onto the 5th grade level. And I'm sure I talked about this in the last webinar, but I'll say it again. It is offensive. I apologize. Most people operate on a 5th grade learning level.
You know, it's a good point that you make, because just to shift it off of you and that the responsibility that you're going to take for saying that, Malcolm Gladwell, a famous author, wrote that David and Goliath one and Tipping Point and all these other ones. He said, when I write to an 8th grade level audience. So not too far away from what you said, because what we're doing is we're making the complicated easy to understand. And there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. So great point, dude. I love that. Mary Albie has a question about Command. I'm going to take this one because I'm with Keller Williams. Although Command is good, it does not compare to Chime. It doesn't compare to Ylopo. It just, Mary, we've tested them all out, and it doesn't even have the dynamic ads for real estate. And they're not planning on doing that until maybe next year. So as cool as Command is, it is way behind Chime. That's the fact. So Brett, go back. I just needed to interrupt you on the Malcolm.
Yeah, no. Comment. That's perfectly fine. What I'm getting at is, for us as agents, it's very, very easy for us to understand what's the difference between a pre-approval letter and a pre-qualification letter. Why is a home inspection important? What does an appraiser do? It's very easy for us to do this. It gets to the point where we understand it to such a point where if we try to explain it to someone on the level that we understand it, we will lose that person immediately. I came back from, my background is tons of math. And so I connect really well with the engineer types, which is perfect because up where I was, there were tons of engineers. Now, the problem is when you're talking to the engineer and their spouse is not an engineer, you lose that person in the transaction like that.
That's happening.
So now you don't have the trust, right? So it's an unbalanced trust. You need trust from both parties. People wonder why when I'd walk into a listing presentation, I would get the listing without really having to do a full presentation. It's because my job at that point was to connect with both parties. Most agents don't. Most agents will connect with one and cater to that person. You need to connect with both parties. If there's 2 parties in it, great, connect with both. If there's 5 parties, it's an estate sale. You have to connect with all of those parties. And it's a pain, but if you can, I hate to use dumb it down, if you can dumb down the amount of information that you have and make it very, very simple to understand, you build trust with that. So what I would encourage people to do is go on and go into your neighborhood. And I know it's hard right now because of COVID, but go talk to people about real estate. But don't tell them, don't do the whole sales pitch on them. Ask them one simple question. What's the most confusing thing about real estate for you? And you don't even have to answer it for them. When they're like, I don't understand the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm doing videos right now, and I'm trying to ask, day-to-day people what they're confused about. And I want to be able to help people understand to a better level and a better understanding of what the real estate process is all about. So now take that and write that down and then go do a 2-minute video on the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval letter. So you can use, and some of you guys have been agents for 20 years. Take that experience, take the general questions that you get all the time and make a 2-minute video series on it. And you can even do a 1-minute video on it. Call it, you can call it 1 minute with whatever your name is. So Amanda Smith just commented. You can do 1 minute with Amanda and do in 1 minute, cover a topic that people have asked you questions about. And that is a way to, 1, make yourself look very, very knowledgeable. 2, make yourself seem very approachable. And 3, make it look like you genuinely care that they understand the process. By doing that, the walls are going to start tumbling down and the objections are going to follow. So that's what you want to talk about. Follow-up. Here's a great follow-up campaign for anybody that right now, when you're like, what do I do? Because I'm stuck in my office. I can't go do stuff. Make videos about the process of buying a house and make it on like a 8th to 5th grade level, somewhere in there. And I think you'd be surprised. Put that on a long-term drip. So every week they get 1 video from you. Do 52 weeks of it, you have a year's worth of content. You're following up with someone for a year. That is way better, by the way, than a lemon meringue pie recipe.
That's so good. Although lemon meringue is pretty good, dude.
It is really good. Yeah, you got me on that one.
That's pretty good. I mean, mix that with a Red Bull, I think.
Oh, jeez.
I can hear the diabetes.
Dude,
I was going to say, talk about a sugar crash.
I know. I don't know if I'd last that. Amanda Smith said, great idea, Brett. I will do that.
You
that
should.
is a very good idea.
You should. Everybody should do that. I mean, it's something that, dude, we just went so virtual. And I think that a lot of people in our industry right now are panicking because of COVID, right? We got thrown into a bunch of new tools that we have to use to make our business work, right? How many of you guys can go out and go show properties right now? It's pretty limited. I mean, you can do a lot of virtual showings. So here's another thing that I would recommend in your follow-up. Chime users, listen up because you already have this tool, okay? So I want you to go in, there's a listing management tool. And so what'll happen is in this tool, it shows all of the new listings that have hit the market and all of your leads that have matching factors to that listing. So here's what I propose you do. If you're going out to do a virtual showing for someone where you go through the house with your camera and film it, great. I want you to record that. I want you to go back home and I want you not just to send that to the one person that requested that showing, but I want you to go into the listing manager for Chime and I want you to find that property and send it to everybody that has 5 matching factors or greater and say, I was out previewing homes today, saw this, and it made me think of you. What do you think? Would you like a showing on this? Now, what's going to happen? They're going to get that, and they're going to see how proactive you were about it. It may not be the right home for them. But if that lead was on the fence about working with you, and all of a sudden they got an email from you that said, hey, I was looking today, I went out there, and I saw this house, made me think of you. What do you think? It makes them feel a lot less like a number and a lot more like a real human being. And if you can bridge that gap, dude, you're gonna have clients literally stumbling over themselves to get to work with you. Just an idea. It works pretty well.
Dude, I think the secret to that was the question that you asked, right? Then you bring them in and you involve them. It almost seems like it's a personal text, and you can mass text that to a lot of people, but that's such a great idea. I really love that, dude. I took notes on that one. So
you should. I mean, when you're talking about with tons of leads, I don't know how many leads most people are having in their CRM. I mean, Aurora's got like 50, 60,000 leads in there. So when a new listing pops up, I mean, she's got 400 matches at any given time. Great, simple. Send one video out to all of those people. It makes it look super personalized. She just killed a lot of, I say killed a lot of cats with one dog. I like birds. So a lot of cats, one dog. Yeah.
I love the differences, dude. It's so good. All right. So really simple question to answer for you from the Facebook side. When we're creating these videos, you're shooting from your phone, or what are you shooting from, and where do you put it to send it out? Is it through Chime, BombBomb?
Sure.
Give me the details.
So if you have, let's start with where you are when you're making this. Okay, so I just want to make the full disclosure right now. I am sitting in my car on my cell phone doing this webinar with you. Why? It's authentic. I was in the middle of doing things today, and this is where I ended up. And so if you're real with people, I mean, yeah, at one point I had a video crew following me around, like literally shoving cameras in my face all day long. And that's great. The problem is if you have that presence and you're using that in a day-to-day thing, it feels very produced. And that's not a good thing. Having a ton of production behind you having a ton of production isn't always a good thing. Being real with people is. So if you were sitting in your car making a video for someone, or sitting at your desk making a video, or out at a showing making a video, it makes you feel very real. And so I would tell people, dude, make yourself real. Don't try to hide that, if you know what I mean. So I would do that. If you have Chime, you can send it out through Chime. It's all done, I mean, literally with like 4 clicks and you're done. If you don't have Chime and you have BombBomb, you can do it with BombBomb. It takes a little bit more to do that. So here's the reason why I like using Chime for that. When I go in, I can literally look at, here's how many people have been interested in this listing. Here's how many it matches. Here's how many people have saved it, favorited it. It tells me all this data. And so I can customize that video and that email or that text to that person. Let's use, for example, there's been a price drop and one of my clients wanted to go see a house. Great. We go out there, we tour it. They're like, not really for me. Great. I'm going to grab my camera, say bye to the client, grab my camera, grab my phone, whatever. I'm going to go walk back through that house with my camera and I'm going to video tour the house. I'm going to save that on my phone. I'm going to head back to the office. I'm going to look at how many people in my database have done something with that house. Liked it, favorited it, shared it with other people, all these indicating factors. And I'm going to craft a text for that specific type of person. Let's say they favorited that house. We just had a $10,000 price reduction. My text to them is, hey, first name, and it's going to put their first name in there. I was out touring houses today, saw this one. Looked like at one point, this might have been a pretty good fit for you. Did you notice the $10,000 price drop today? What are your thoughts? There's a video of it. They literally can preview it from their phone. And if they want to do more with that, who do you think they're going to reach out to? You. So price drop, back on market. Those are like the greatest, that's like the greatest gift you can be given. A back on market, all of the people that showed interest in that house, hey, did you see that this came back on the market today? I was browsing the MLS and saw that this came back. It looked like it was one of your favorites. What are your thoughts? You want to go check it out? I mean, that's all done in Chime. And the best part, it takes 30 seconds to get that done. So you can send a text to 1,100 people in 30 seconds. So that's been the key to Aurora's success, my other half's success, because she can look at it now and, you know, she used to spend 6 hours a day prospecting, 50,000 plus leads in her database, and she spends less than 2 hours a day prospecting.
Wow.
So, yeah, not bad.
Well, you've been able to leverage, you're leveraging technology. That's the key.
That's exactly it. Yep.
Cool. Randy, anything we missed there in between that you wanted to touch on?
Well, one thing I want to touch on real quick is kind of actually circling back to the beginning and some of the smart plans Brett has built. I think one of the reasons why people automatically connect blowing up the phones with prospecting is because it's what they know, or it's what the industry has told them they needed to do. You know, when they first became a real estate agent, their broker said, go make 100 phone calls a day or what have you. But what Brett has shown us is that he's using other pieces of technology, AKA voicemail drops, AKA videos, as a part of his smart plans to increase conversion and add new ways to contact people. So the actual time dedicated to getting on the phone has been relegated to less than 2 hours a day, like you mentioned. So I would like to hear from Brett just a little bit more about what technology is really needed in your nurture campaigns and what is possibly, the shiny object syndrome that realtors can fall victim to as well.
Sure. I think the way that I look at things is no matter what direction you're going, it has to be scalable. And so I love talking to agents that are single agents that are like, I want to start my own team. It's like, good for you. What are you going to do that's going to scale? Because you have to be able to scale yourself in order to build a team. And I think my favorite is, well, I'll figure it out. I mean, I'll hire a couple ISAs. If you do that, that's great. It handles an initial scalability. The problem with that is it will not scale indefinitely. You will hit a ceiling, and then you're going to have to hire more ISAs and more and more and more. And essentially, you're going to run out of money. Your net proceeds are going to plummet. So what you can do is the technology that I like to use video email. That is hands down my favorite thing of all time. I love video email. I'm a big fan of BombBomb just because it makes it stupid easy and it integrates with Chime. I mean, those are the two major reasons that I do that. Is it integrates with Chime and it's stupid easy to use. That's number one. Number two, voicemail drops. Sly Broadcast is mainly who we use for that. Another integration with Chime. Those are the two biggies that I use. Reason being, I like getting calls to me versus me making calls out. And so it's very simple to send 1,000 voicemails. In fact, the other day we sent, Aurora needed to send out a bunch of voicemails. We sent out like 2,740 voicemails. We actually crashed Sly Broadcast after 20 minutes. Yeah, it was pretty epic. Anywho, don't try that. So, especially not all at once. But the point was, we sent that campaign out, and her phone did not stop ringing for like 6 hours straight. Instead of her calling all those leads, getting a voicemail, or, finally getting a hold of someone when they're in their car walking into a meeting, she dropped 2,700, almost 2,750 voicemails. And her phone just blew up after that. It was a new listing that she had put up in Tri-Cities.
So tell me that process. What was that? I want to know the details.
On that?
Yeah.
So all she did, literally all she did was made a quick voicemail for, I don't remember the address. Let's just call it 123 Main Street. It was essentially like, hey, it's Aurora with Aurora and Associates. Just wanted to let you know about our new listing that just popped on the market. It looks like it would be a pretty good fit for what you are looking for in a new property. Give me a call back. I'd love to tell you all the details. It comes on the market on Friday. Blah, 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 blah. It was really, really basic. But those people called back looking for that information. And literally it never even hit the market. It sold pre-market. That's the idea though. And so she put that into, that was done literally through Sly Broadcast. That was 100% through Sly Broadcast. We would have used Chime for it, but she was already in Sly Broadcast. And so it just pumped out faster that way.
Made it easier, yeah.
That works great. So those are two pieces of software other than Chime that is being used. Other than that, it's all done through Chime. Anytime we need texting sent out, done through Chime. Dialer through Chime. Any of that stuff is done through Chime.
Do you guys use the dialer or no?
We used to. We do so many voicemail drops at this point that phone calls come in. And so when they come in, they just go to our cell phone. So we make 0 outbound calls. I know that sounds weird. Other than your check-ins. For prospecting wise, there's 0 outbound calls, which scares people a lot. They're like, I make 500 calls a day. And you're like, cool. We don't. We make 0 outbound calls a day unless you're 30 days or less. At that point, you'll get outbound calls.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Randy, how are you doing over there?
You shocked Randy.
I did.
Well,
I did.
so here's the thing, right? There's a ton of people who are immediately going to think, well, he doesn't do any prospecting. That's not what he said. Just because his method of follow-up doesn't fit your definition of prospecting, it doesn't mean he doesn't prospect. These aren't 2,700 people who are looking for Brett Baker right now. These are 2,700 people who he voicemail dropped and then spent his time following up the people who reached back out. So don't get stuck in this antiquated version of prospecting and think what Brett's doing is exclusively unique to Brett, because this is a solution that anyone today can implement if you have BombBomb, Slide Broadcast, and Chime, right? And those things aren't unique to Brett. Anyone can sign up for these things.
The best part out of this whole thing is it's actually scalable. And so what I mean by that is, if you're getting 5 leads a day, if you're getting 5 leads a week, if you're getting 5 leads a month, if you take the time now to build out your follow-up now, if you're getting 100 leads a day, 500 leads a day, 1,000 leads a day, it does not matter, because you will be able to handle that automatically. I know that sounds weird, but then that way you're only going to have to worry about the people that are ready to go. And then you'll have a pipeline full of people. They're hot, they're warm, they're going to be ready in 90 days. You have this great pipeline of people that is all ready to go. That's how you scale. That is true scalability.
I think you've been working in a world where you've already prepared for what the future holds, right? And I think that's where we're going to lose a lot of agents in the coming years, where technology is already moving faster than most of us understand it, right? That's just a fact. So it's just going to leave more and more people behind. So I think this is where we take advantage of the technology that we can use, like Chime, like those that you mentioned, and really start learning those. Take the time to learn it and process it. Fabiola has a question for you, Brett. She says, so were those 2,700 numbers people that were renting, or people in your database, or what?
Those are people that actually were, they had all the characteristics that would match that house. And so what we did was, in Chime, so she put the listing in as a, it's not technically, she can't do coming soons up there. So it was put in as like we're putting it off market, but we just wanted to see who in our database would match that. So she took those numbers, exported them out of Chime, imported them into Slide Broadcast, and then just dropped all those voicemails from Slide Broadcast. Those were all people that had 5 or greater matching, what am I looking for, Randy?
Match factors.
Thank you. Matching factors. That's what they had. So 5 or greater. So it was either in the price point, the area, the size, the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, all of your big items. There were 5 or greater of those that were a match. And so she voicemail dropped them all.
Yeah, so what he's talking about, just so people understand, on the back end of Chime, when you upload a new listing that you have, what happens automatically is
any listing on the MLS, I should add.
Actually, he's right. Any listing on the MLS. So it populates, and you click, let's say it's my listing that I click on. Well, it says, hey, Tristan, all of these people in your database possibly match this listing. Do you want to text them, or what the hell do you want to do with them? And that's how easy it is. It really is like, oh, okay, I'll text them.
Yep. You can text, you can email, and then if you want to do a voicemail drop, she wanted to do a voicemail drop just because that's her personality. She wanted her phone to ring, and that was, I mean, literally, that is when you're putting a house on the market, and let's say you're in a listing presentation with someone, and you go, hey, they say, well, what separates you from everybody else? Well, first of all, I want to show you my buyer database. And you literally can run them through the buyer database. Here's all the people that we have that potentially match this home. They have 5 or greater matching feature or matching factors that tell us that they have an interest in this house. So not only are we going to go on general open market with this, but I'm going to text, email, and call all of these people to see if they would like to purchase your house.
You know
now,
what?
for those, go ahead.
Just to wrap it up, dude, I'm gonna let you go. I want to show what this is. I just popped it up.
Awesome. I'm really glad you can do that from yours.
Yeah, well, I'm not on Red Bull either. So for now, wait till the evening. All right, here we go. So I popped up Malibu listings, right? And you see this one. This one says Ray Copas. It's a townhome in Malibu. I can check it off here, but let's scroll through. It says view match to leads. 76 of them match from my database. right? So I could click on there, and these are all the options. I could click on all of them and decide to do whatever I want here. Email,
Yep.
text, right? And then that's where you say, hey, I've got this new listing. The cool thing is, along with the text, it shows them the property or a link to the property, right?
Absolutely.
That's what he's talking about there. And if you want to take that to a next level, which is what his wife did, then you slide broadcast. So, dude, just wanted to interrupt you for that to show that.
Dude, you have so many open tabs. That literally made me nervous over here.
See, I was thinking I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, I'm sitting over here like, how are you productive?
This time, let's operate this way.
I love that. So, anything you want to add here in closing, buddy?
I mean, to wrap it up, here's the thing. We have a huge opportunity right now because most of us cannot get out and show properties, right? Most of you can, but it's appointment only. You can't really go to open houses. So here's where you're at right now. Take the downtime that you have and start building your systems. This is not rocket science. This is, and believe me, I would know. This is so simple. Take, how do I put this? I'm busier than ever. What downtime? Jessica, you're my hero. Where does this downtime? It doesn't, Jessica. Keep doing what you're doing. No, but seriously, if you have downtime, take 20 minutes out of your day and make like 3 videos and just start building out what I call an evergreen drip campaign. If you have any questions about that, I mean, we'll make sure you have an access to be able to reach out to me, and I can help guide you. And Tristan, maybe we should do another one of these where we actually like work with people and build these out.
Dude, why don't we, Randy, Brett, next month, let's take 1 hour or 50 minutes where we pick either buyers or sellers, and between the 3 of us, we start creating drips.
I think that's a great idea.
That way, it's like almost like a class, and then at the end, we give them out to whoever's on.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. Drips that make you trip. Jessica, you just became my new best friend.
That's so good. I'm trying to, you know what? That might be a great title for our next webinar.
Yeah.
That's Tristan's next t-shirt. He's going to have a heart attack in a good way.
Yeah. 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 Literally next time I'm up in your area, Tristan, I'm bringing you a shirt that says heart attack in a good way.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love it.
Oh, man. I hope people got value out of what I brought up today. I really do. Hopefully you take some of this and run with it. You do, except for Jessica, have some time to do this. Take advantage of it and run with it. If you haven't checked out Chime yet, check out Chime. So.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, this one's sponsored by Chime. Go to Chime. Is it Chime.me or is it Chime? Randy, what do you do?
Chime.me.
Yeah,
I was going to say, if you want a demo of it, chimedemo.com. I mean,
there you go.
Easy. Super easy.
Super easy. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Brett. Good luck today, Brett.
Yeah, thank you. You guys take it easy.
Thanks, Randy.